What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Crew Call Pod. I am not Brad McCaw. I am Brandon Sampy. I'm an event producer with Mosaic, and I have hijacked the podcast to speak to some awesome people here. As you can see, we're live on set at one of our shows. We're doing a wonderful show in California, and we had like a really nice mix of people. So we got some video friends to chat all things video. So welcome to the video podcast. Over here to my left, I have Jess, Abril, I have Johann and Eddie. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to go down the line. If you just want to kind of like give a quick intro, let me know like how long you've been in the industry and like what you typically do in the industry, I guess. So we'll start with Jess.
So I've been doing live event production for, I want to say 12 years. Strictly video for probably 8 now. So I do all the high-res engineering, kind of like the central brain hub of all things video. I ingest all the media servers, output things to LED, and kind of just manage all things for the video crew.
Just going to pause right there. For those that don't know what high-res is, how would you explain what exactly is the world of high-res? Give me one sentence. I know you can go on forever, but...
basically just managing large pixel canvases. So if you think about your TV at home, it's a 4K TV that's 3840 by 2160, and we deal with huge pixel counts, varying sizes, shapes, all things of that nature. And so it's kind of my job to engineer all of that, make sure that everything talks and works appropriately, and the show looks great.
Awesome. Abril, this is actually your second time on the Crew Call Pod. Welcome back.
It is. Thank you. So I've been doing it for about 14 years. Started out as cameras and also a video lead. So I do V1 positions, high-res switchers, media servers, a little bit of directing cameras and such. So yeah, that's my background.
That's awesome. I didn't know that you direct cameras. I'd love to see you behind a camera switch. That'd be fun.
Trade.
We should definitely trade.
Actually, no, I don't want to run D3. That's going to be bad. We won't say
anyone. Like everyone in the video land just rotates to the left one day. Here, Johann.
Like Sampy said, my name is Johann. I do, let's see. I've been in the industry for probably 8-9 years. It's kind of all I've ever done. I'm the baby of the group.
We do have a good range. We have people that have been in the industry for decades, some for just a handful of years, I guess, and then it's a good range.
Yeah, but I do mainly touring stuff, LED, engineering, all of that stuff, and then in the time that I'm not touring, I hop on corporate stuff with either the Mosaic crew or with Eddie's crew at Concept Pixels, and yeah.
Man, so you have a vacation from your touring life, and your vacation is just to hop on corporate gigs.
Exactly. A nice change of pace.
Nice change of pace. Yeah. Nice vacation, I want to say. And then last, the legendary Eddie.
I'm Eddie. I've been in the industry, I think, for 18 years now. I started young, 17. But I have a production company, but I do a lot of directing and a lot of video stuff.
Yep. All sorts of things. We're super blessed and grateful to have you here. It's always a pleasure whenever you're on one of our shows. So I kind of just wanted to chat a little bit. I mean, I'm actually really interested to know this because I don't know if I actually know this story, but Eddie, how did you end up in this industry? More specifically, like how did you land in the video space?
It was a lot of, I started in when I was 17, but then I got connected early in church.
So it was church. That's wild.
I think I did lighting first at church and I was like 11. And it was all right. Then I did audio. Didn't really like that either. So moved on to video like that and connected with a production manager that actually that worked at our church, but also did corporate events. So I was just a stagehand utility guy on corporate events. But I wanted to actually do film at first, and somebody that was a good mentor to me, his name's Matt Stone, that does a lot of corporate, said, there's no money in film. He's like, you might as well stay in corporate AV. So I was like, all right, cool. So I stayed in that and just connected, and I'm also now doing film stuff too, which is kind of ironic.
Yeah. And then what about you, Johann? How did you get started in this? Was it also church?
Yeah, kind of similar. I started as a lighting guy too.
Wow.
At a
so
summer
what I'm hearing
camp.
is that like lighting sucks and everyone should just jump to video.
I won't say that's true or not, but
your
I hear
face
it a
tells
lot.
me everything, so you can just go on.
But yeah, I started in lighting and then kind of moved. I started working at a church in North Carolina, Elevation Church, and I did everything from audio to video and lighting. And then once I stepped away from that and started touring, I did mainly just video.
Gotcha, man. And then we kind of already know your origin story, Abril, from the last podcast as a wonderful camera operator.
Yeah, I just took a very last minute camera job and then was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. Let me go in different departments.
I would pay money to see you operate a camera.
No, I won't do it.
Yeah.
I won't do it.
And then Jess, I think you had a similar thing too, right? Wasn't your first like video thing like a camera gig as well?
Not exactly. So I started out, actually was working at Sonic, and then this kid that I went to high school with worked at a local production company in Phoenix. And he's like, hey man, we need somebody to come help out in the warehouse, sorting gears, loading trucks. And I was like, yeah, anything to get me out of Sonic. And that was kind of the start of it. And so I did stagehand work and pushed cases and loaded trucks for years, and then also did audio for a while. And similar to Eddie, some mentors were like, hey, maybe you should jump into video. There's a lot of things that you can do, and made that switch, and the rest is history.
Yeah. A lot less like box pushing and
Loading
truck packing in video land.
Yes, which is welcomed.
Yeah. So actually, let's talk about that for a little bit, as we kind of laugh about that. A lot of time video in our industry kind of gets a bad rap. Like, we've all seen the Instagram memes of like someone's just like, there's like a thing was like the audio team like 4 hours in their like loadout, and then it like shows the video team, and it's just like a tumbleweed that goes by because they've been gone for 30 minutes. Like, oftentimes we get this rap that like video guys don't do anything, that like we don't work hard, we don't do all this. So here's a question for you. What's one thing that you wish other people in our industry understood about what you do?
I think it's that there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes. You know, when you're someone that's just attending and you're watching it, whether it's corporate work or concert work or anything in between, you know, you get to experience all of the wow factor, and it's really easy to not necessarily know that, hey, there's so much that goes into it. I mean, there's so many people. I mean, we joke about this all the time, and all of the audio people joke with us, and it's like, why do you need so many video people? And it's so true. Like, there's such a huge team that goes into it, especially on some of the bigger shows that we do. So I think just in general that, hey, like, there's all these wizards behind the curtain, and that there's so much that goes into making it actually go off without a hitch.
Yeah, I think that's definitely valid. I think something that is, video is one of those weird departments where like it's really hard to look at and look at bad video. You know, like if you go to like a concert, right, it's really easy and apparent to see like bad audio or hear bad audio because it's like feeding back or it's really terrible. But like bad video is kind of like a hard thing to really pinpoint, you know, but it is very evident when it is bad. So it's like, it's kind of like one of those things where there's a lot of effort that goes into it, and it's like really technical, but it's really like hard to tell when it's bad. So a lot of times people think there's like, oh, you don't do anything, and it's just like, actually, we're just really good at our job. So I don't know, anyone else want to talk about something like where do you feel like you're misunderstood?
I don't think a lot of people realize how many different resolutions you can send and receive something
1,000%.
And that's a big part of Jess's job, kind of making all of those fit together. Because you have so many different devices that can either only send a certain range of resolutions or you know, and only talk to certain other ones. So, or
even just having like multiple devices that are all talking different resolutions, and then somehow finding a way to make them all talk to each other, so that way the whole system is happy and copacetic. Like, that is not a small feat, but it's something that we do on the daily, pretty much.
I think one of the other biggest things is like learning how to troubleshoot, and how many layers
1,000%.
of troubleshooting there are. Like with specifically like even the technical directing side of things and the switcher side of things. Like there's like a million things that could go wrong. That'll probably trigger something on the E2 side or even the Sky side of like
literally
just things
everything
not
is
working.
connected.
Yeah, so like just the layers of that, of like getting it right the first time, and then like properly doing it can trigger a lot of other things if you don't.
Yep. I think it's also interesting, like video is one of those departments that deals with like new technology, like very constantly. Because if you look at all the industries, like, you know, like this microphone here, right, has been in existence for, I don't know, 60, 70 years, that exact same microphone capsule. Whereas if you look at any piece of video equipment from 60 years ago, like it's completely irrelevant today. So that's another thing you have to think. It's like you have to always be constantly learning, because like there's really nothing that really is steadfast, because the industry is always evolving. But I know Abril, it looks like you were saying something.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with the whole being able to, like, I guess troubleshoot, because I want to say a little less than half the time that you power something up, it's not working. It needs to be factory reset. You need to get new EDIDs on it, and to get it like happy with the switchers and the Macs and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's not like an audio console where you just throw in a show profile.
Yeah. You just kind of like stick your thumb drive in it, and then just kind of like the faders kind of dance around a little bit, and then there's sound magically.
Yeah.
And I think too, something that's somewhat unique to video is that there's so many different platforms that get utilized on shows. There's so many different media server companies that are used, some that are very heavy in corporate, some that are very, very heavy in touring.
It's a bunch of different like high-res switchers,
a bunch of high-res switchers, camera switchers. I think cameras are something that's super overlooked by people. You know, the art that comes into color balancing and matching cameras, especially in large rooms when you have a lot of different cameras that are happening. It's just,
or different camera bodies as well.
Like, that too.
Down to the lenses.
Yeah,
exactly.
Even the lenses too.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's definitely a huge technical aspect of it, but also kind of an art form in its own.
Man, I mean, we talked a little bit about like how video is always like on the forefront of technology here. Let's just talk through kind of like the big buzzwords right now in the tech world, and let's just get your opinions on it. Let's talk 2110. Let's talk kind of like network video. That is starting to like make its way into like broadcast video in terms of like sports broadcasting and stuff like that. Do you see a world where 2110 and these kind of like new technologies could make their way into corporate? I know, or even touring. Like, what's your guys' take on like the new shiny thing that is emerging in our industry?
I think that's a Johann answer.
Oh yeah, let's give it to engineer Johann.
I wouldn't say I'm very well versed on 2110 in general, like super deeply right now, but I will say that I think we're going to see a lot more engineers kind of diving into the networking side of things, and we're going to see a lot of strong networking guys come out of the IT field into live entertainment once that starts to become a thing, because we're going to be managing all these like 100 gig switches and everything's just going to be over our network infrastructure.
Yep.
So I think we're going to see kind of a change there in the personnel and like kind of the expectations of what people are.
But do you think that really has like a feasible place in like our industry? Like it kind of makes sense for like a fixed installation, or like if you're like satellite broadcasting from truck back to a central hub or something like that to have that kind of infrastructure. Do you see a use in it in touring or corporate?
Yeah, I think it's great to replace some of the like higher cost like fiber infrastructure that people are using. Like even on this show, we're using one of the Blackmagic 3x3 boxes to go across the stage, and instead of running 3 lines of copper, we're running one Cat 5. So
yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of potential benefits of it. I think it's got a long way to go before it's fully integrated. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to get updated and switched over, but I think that there's definitely a good use case for it. Things just need to get a little bit further.
Yeah. I think that's kind of like with any technology. You got to like make sure that it's tried and true, especially in like, I know, like me, I'm primarily in the corporate world, so it's a lot of throw and go. So it's a lot of show up. You have a bunch of stuff that you maybe have never seen before, and then you just have to like throw it together, make it work for 3 days, and then pack it down. And that 3 day could be, you know, anywhere between it could be $1 million+ production that you have to throw together for 3 days, and then it's gone. So it's a bit different than a tour. So doing it in that way seems a little bit different, but I do want to pivot away. Let's pivot away from some of the technical stuff here. I want to ask just a fun question here. I would want to hear stories. What was some of the most stressful situations you have ever had as a video engineer or a video person? Because video is one of those things where it's like, it's great until it's not. Like as soon as something like goes bad, like you can tell bad video, but like it's hard to tell like not like super great video, but you can tell when like screens just go blue and stuff like that. Like, let's hear some fun stories. Like when sometimes where like, you know, you were fully clenched going into like doors or something.
Off the top of my head, the one that comes up off the top of my head actually isn't a video one. It's a comm one.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Which is another conversation.
Yeah, we'll
I know what you're going to see.
Yeah.
Which gets split up depending on the show.
Yeah.
Sometimes audio, sometimes video. So you got to kind of be prepared to to do it.
Well, let's hear it, because I know like a lot of times in the touring world, right, comm is actually not an audio thing, it's a video thing. So
yeah, well, this was on a one-off, but yeah, you are correct in saying that usually we have a comm system that'll live in our video world, and then we'll connect to the lighting comm, and maybe the audio guys will run a couple lines into us. But this was just on a one-off, and everything was fine throughout the entire, all of our run-throughs and everything. And then maybe like 10 minutes before doors, a breaker flipped and our fly pack turned off.
Oh no!
And we turn it back on, and the entire comm system is disconnected and won't connect to each other.
Gotta love it. How many minutes to doors?
Probably like 10, 15.
Good time.
To show.
Oh, to shore.
To show, yeah,
Good
he's correct.
times.
Yeah, and so we kind of me and the other engineer spent most of the show trying to get all these antennas to work together correctly and have all the camera ops be able to talk to each other on this show.
Oh my gosh. Did you get it working in time?
We got it was kind of off and on throughout the show. It was kind of a miss on our part.
You just like have all your camera operators just like FaceTime the director, and the director's just like shouting into their phone like, ready 3.
It would work for a few minutes and then cut off and then come back, and it was a headache for everyone.
Ugh. What about you, Eddie? I know you have some wild stories, and I'm sure everybody has some wild stories too.
Mine was actually, I was an LED tech, I think in 2016 for some company. But it was a high end corporate event. And I had told the company, I'm not going to name, that their cables are not great and they're intermittent. And I kept telling that. I said, I need replacements. No replacements. They didn't give me any backups, no backups. And sure enough, we were on the opening video for this huge company, and half the LED walls are just wigging out.
Oh no.
No backups kicked in, and they're looking at me like, what do I do? I was like, I told you guys what to do.
Yep.
You guys didn't do it. Yeah. So, during show, I'm just standing behind the wall, just ready to replace a cable.
Oh. So were you just like literally just whack-a-moling? Like you had someone in like front of the house just being like, was this
panel
over on the house right side, 3 up.
On comms, like literally I'm on comms. I'm on comms and replacing cables during the CEO's intro video, which was like a 5-minute intro video to this company.
What a nightmare.
A massive company that everyone knows and uses. So it was his it was an introduction to him being the CEO at this company.
What a great start.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Any other fun stories before we move on?
So I can't say, but it's a very well-known festival.
I would say festival, like client names can be fully redacted. We can add bleeps. Producer Jeff can like bleep out certain things if you need to. Like you are protected. We'll put you into witness protection. There'll be a whole thing.
Thank you. No, it's a very well-known festival, very well-known artist. They're the headliner. They're coming on. Their media servers, we lost signal to E2.
Nice.
And this is when E2 3-box link system was fairly new. We were probably one of the first, because I actually had Barco come and check it out, which didn't make me feel all that great, but whatever. So they came to check out our system, and right before they're supposed to hit stage, we lose signal from their media servers. We have a crowd of 500,000 people out there. But we, so definitely felt sick on that one. But we got it going. How long did it
take for you guys to get it back up?
I can't say.
Can't remember.
No, but I can remember.
Or just too long. We'll redact it.
I mean,
level with us. We'll bleep it. Ready? Just say the number. Ready?
No.
Okay.
Because it was a handful of us, and so yeah. But we got it going. The crowd didn't really notice. But we got it going. Great show, televised show, and it was amazing. But we were back there sweating.
Man, so did you guys not let's talk backups. Like I feel like a lot of times with video, like we have backups on backups, and that's just kind of like a well-practiced thing. Like anyone that's like worth their salt in this industry, doesn't matter what department you're in, has backups on backups, whether it's like a stack of multiple computers or backup servers, or what are your guys' thoughts on backups? And like, does it make sense to always have tracking hot backups, or like?
I mean, it's ideal, but when do you have multiple high-res switchers all on routers? And it's ideal. And if you have if your client has a budget, great. But
yeah, I mean, I think ideally it's always great to have it, but to truly have a fully redundant system, like Abril said, you got to have routers, you got to have hot switchers in line. And then really it all boils down to like, there's still always a point of failure, right? Like even if you have hot switchers that are running as backups, if your router
do you have a backup for the hot switcher?
Right.
Like,
if your router dies, like that's the hub, that's what's doing all the switchers, and that kind of ties into it.
Well, then, yeah, because then once you apply all of those, then you're adding point of failures.
Exactly. So like, let's talk about that balance. Like, where do you think the balance lies in redundancy versus just adding so much just to say that you're fully redundant?
I mean, I think you do the best that you can with what you have available. And, sometimes you don't have things that are hot. You have things that are cold. I mean, Amfest a few years ago, we had one of our high-res switchers.
Oh, yeah, talk about clenching moments.
That was my clenching moment. Amfest, it's the biggest show we do every year. And 40 minutes before doors, one of our 2 Spiders high-res switchers, it just tried and true. It's literally the 10th of 10 days of running nonstop. And the internal computer dies.
It just decides I don't want to work anymore.
And like that goes back to the, troubleshooting is something that's often overlooked. And that's why you hire great engineers, is because, hey, you get everything up and running and you punch your buttons and it's all pretty easy. But then what happens when something goes wrong?
When something goes wrong,
having people that are able to troubleshoot and quickly implement solutions is a huge part of that. And so in that scenario, luckily we had a cold backup. We held doors, I think maybe 10 minutes, and we were able to get the new one in line. So it's worth having, especially on big shows. I mean, it's crucial.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Eddie, Johann?
I mean, I call it bringing the shop, especially for the higher end clients. It's like you want to just make sure you have something there in case, you never know. And especially it's like sometimes they appreciate it too. And it comes to clientele where they ask for something last minute and it's there, and it's not a backup anymore, but it's just an accessory piece that you might need later on.
I think that's a pretty good balance too. Like what we were talking about before, like it ultimately like ends somewhere. It's like you can't really truly back up everything because there's always something that's handling the process of the failover. And then how do you back up that? It gets complicated.
I mean, there's hot backup and then there's like
warm
cold
backup and cold backups, There's like in the toaster oven backup, microwave backup, all sorts
the
of
lukewarm.
Things. Yeah, the lukewarm backup. Hit them with that special there. Another interesting question here, and this kind of like loops back, and we chatted about this briefly, but some of us have worked in like the touring space. Some of us have worked in the corporate space. Some of us have worked in both. What are some of the key differences you guys see in terms of video between like the corporate live production space and like the touring music live production space?
I made a comment about this earlier because I was looking at your D3 timeline, and I noticed that you were labeling things by queue number, whereas we would probably label something by like song name or like section name. They're talking about
disguise service.
Disguise service, sorry, yeah. And I just thought that was interesting because I was actually having that same conversation with a guy named Wesley that did a show for Concept a couple weeks ago, and he said that they came in and were shouting out queue numbers for him.
Interesting.
Versus like go for whoever's name on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, something like that. Just how they call the show differently kind of forces you to program a little differently.
Well, let's talk about workflow. Like, are there any like key workflow differences you see?
I think a lot of it has to do with prep. Yeah. When it comes to touring live music versus corporate, right?
Yeah.
Everything in the touring side, everything's prepped at a shop, ready to go. It's tested and it's actually set up for the first time.
It comes to the show site, like glued together. And
then also when you're on show site for that first round of rehearsals for a tour, you're setting it up like as if you're doing a tour. Because most of the times we have to be up in like 3 to 4 hours on a full rig, which is like 80 points.
Yep.
Anything could go wrong. So it has to be like very dialed.
Tested.
All the way through. Versus corporate, we might have like 3 or 4 days for something.
I mean, but not always,
Well, I mean, you still have, something.
You typically have more than 3 hours.
Exactly. More than 3 hours. And it's not same day rehearsals for corporate. The stress levels are lower, definitely.
They can be.
I think a lot of touring and festival and concert work has a lot of very purpose-built, fly packs for each position. And although we have some of that in the corporate world, I do a lot of events where I show up and it's kind of just like all the random pieces of gear and you have to put it all together and do all the wiring and figure all of that out. Whereas, on touring stuff, you just kind of open it up and plug it in and hopefully all of it still works.
Yeah. I mean, I think if for those of you that have watched the Crew Call podcast, the audio guys talked about this a little bit too, about how in the touring world, like it's almost in some ways easier in the touring world because the system has already been tried and true and like all the bugs have been fleshed out in the shop and like you're dealing with the exact same system and gear every single day. Do you feel like that's pretty similar in the realm of video as well? Or do you think it's kind of hit and miss?
We're also going for kind of days on end and you're doing load in, show, load out. So you kind of factor in that fatigue with, with setting up the gear. So I think it's, 6 one way, half a dozen the other.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. There definitely is like a beauty in like the corporate space where like you get to sleep in a real bed, and not a bus, take a shower. You're not like
in a nice shower.
Yeah, exactly. Not one that's like this big and you're like banging like some random like
prison showers is what they call it.
I wasn't gonna say it, but It's like, I do have just a couple other questions here, and then these are just kind of like some fun one stuff here. What is a common mistake you see new video engineers constantly making?
Not labeling their cables.
Yeah.
If you walked back to the rack back there, all of Jess's cables are labeled.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's plugging inputs and outputs into the opposite spigots.
Oh, that's fun.
It's like, yeah, or lack of knowledge programming decimators.
Yeah. Everyone, if you're wanting to get into the video industry, learn what a decimator is, know how to fully program it, know how to completely reset it, and just know which side is the in and which side is the out. You'll go far in the industry if you can just learn that.
And have it in your kit.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. What's one thing in your kit that you can't live without?
Well,
I fix it kits.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one.
I highly recommend a decimator.
Yeah.
Or a Dex. Well, that's a little old school. And a 4K test monitor.
And a 4K test monitor is great too. There's some good one. There's some like the Atmos stuff has a good one. Blackmagic has a pretty decent one. So
Stream Deck. For sure. Stream Deck XL, at least one.
How many pages are on your Stream Deck typically?
It depends on the show. I kind of just have like recycled pages that I use now because I've programmed so many different things. But usually, on a show that we're doing right here, it'll be 1 or 2 pages. And I think outside of that, decimators for sure, basic tools, agreed on the test monitor. I have a Roland audio embedder, de-embedder that is no kidding. It is a decade old and it's a workhorse, and we have pulled that out on so many shows, and it honestly probably, other than my Stream Deck, gets used more than anything else.
An audio de-embedder or embedder is pretty clutch as well, because somehow audio becomes our problem somehow all the time. Johann, you looked like you were saying something.
You guys took all the obvious
tried and true ones. Yeah.
I would say like an access point, maybe if you're doing a lot of walking around as an E2 operator. I feel like that kind of comes in handy a lot to come stand in front of the screen, even 100%. As an LED tech, being able to program from out in front.
You can see that. Anything you want to add, Eddie?
I mean, no.
I mean, you've been in the industry for so long. What's like the big mistake that you see new guys making all the time? We've talked about labeling and stuff. And like, I feel like this is a question that is not even really technical. Like, what's just...
as far as like skill wise, I always see like people trying to improve themselves when they don't need to. And then they try to do it themselves and don't ask questions.
Yeah, the golden
That's the big one for me. It's like, I hate it when people are trying to troubleshoot when somebody else wouldn't know the answer to, and they could just figure it out right there.
Yep. I try to always not be the smartest person. One, because you don't have to like do the heavy lifting for troubleshooting, but then also just because like you get to learn a lot more. I think I had just 1 or 2 more questions and then we'll probably wrap it up. But let's chat a little bit about your own personal systems, right? I feel like everybody has like a certain way that they always like start their shows and like get things set up. So like, what is your go-to, like you're doing your standard role and whatever you're doing, what does your typical system look like, regardless of the gear? Like how are you organizing things? How are you setting things up? Let's talk about that, because everybody has their own way of doing things.
I mean, I think for me, it all starts with pre-production, right? The planning phase. You and I work very closely together on that, working on line diagrams, patch sheets, all of that. And on really anything but a very small show, that's always my first thing, is getting that all laid out, because showing up and just trying to wing it is terrible. So knowing that you have a plan and executing the plan and then pivoting as you need to on site, I think is super important. For me, it all starts with the video switcher, making sure you know what you're doing. My basic setup is always the high-res switcher and HDMI and SDI routers. I always ask for it. It's like my show rider. And like, that's just kind of the base of the system. And then really just working off of all of the planning and then working with all the other departments.
Abril, what's the first thing, I was like, when you get on the show, what's the first thing you open? Like the first thing you're like, oh, I got to find this, I got to open it.
Well, it depends on the role that I'm playing. If I'm doing media servers, I mean, I'm working closely with whoever my B1 is Jess. It's like, okay, well, what do you want to see from me? What, resolutions? How do you want me to map these things? If I'm your V1, then I need to see line diagrams. I need to see my inputs, my outputs, my sources. I need to see, what's my LED wall going to look like. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, same. I mean, I do a lot of different roles, so it kind of varies based on like show to show. But if I am engineering, first thing I'm doing, making a patch sheet.
Yep.
Making sure everything's organized, because once you start plugging stuff in, it's very easy to kind of get out of whack with all your I/O.
And last but not least, the Superman.
I think at least on the directing side of things, what I typically do is just if it's a festival or live music, I'll look at the artist list. I'll try to do a bunch of pre-production on figuring out like the songs that they're doing, a set list that they're doing, listening to that, studying that, but also in the sense of camera plots, figuring out that as well, with the production managers and laying that out. But on site, like I'm just
chair and then catering.
Chair and catering.
And then catering.
Where's catering?
That's all directors.
Where's catering? I mean, that's obviously a great question to know and ask, but
I mean, there was a time on tour where me and Johann, funny story, Johann was engineer, but then like, I don't know what happened, but I woke up at like noon.
Nice.
And I got off the bus, and the security guy right outside the door was like, "You must be the video director because it's noon."
That sounds about right. Just two last questions, and then we'll wrap here. I just want to go down the line. So the first one is, what was the last project that you like stood back and were really proud of?
My most recent would probably be The Sphere.
Oh, wow. You got to do some work at the Sphere?
I was the first person to program the exosphere, the outside part, to like match what's ever going inside with the iMac out there.
Oh, that's right. I remember when they launched, they were saying that they were going to do that, where you could like be transparent view into the Sphere.
It's not quite transparent, but yeah,
that's like the marketing hype.
Right. But I was, but they were doing the draft, the NHL draft, and I was, programming like the team's picks outside.
Man, what a cool project!
It was amazing. So that was my most recent, most proud moment.
We'll go, Jess.
I think recently I would probably say Amfest.
Okay. This last year's that we did?
Yeah, I think because Brad's always stepping up the designs every year, and for me, as far as like an engineering standpoint, that's I think usually the biggest show as far as volume of LED and just
there's
the
a lot of pixels on that one.
The amount of I/O that we have, and the pixels that we're pushing, and it's just always fun to kind of like work with him and the designs and figure out how we can kind of bring all of that to life.
Yep. Johann?
Can I say the basketball game? We did a live stream probably like a month ago now for MrBeast, YouTuber.
I saw that, yeah.
And it was kind of like a last minute, like get everything together.
I think we had like a week and a half notice.
Yeah, and it was what, 10 cameras, 12 cameras, and like in one of his studios, full live stream basketball game. And we just kind of had to figure out how to get everything in there and do like our video world out in the tent outside, and a bunch of things changing last minute.
Man, we could do a whole podcast episode just on that. I have so many questions around the logistics of like a MrBeast shoot. It just blows my mind. Isn't there like a bajillion cameras like outside of everything else that you guys were doing as well?
Well, it's like our stuff, and then you've got the behind the scenes people, and then like everyone else running around, all the like private content creators there. Yeah. So there's a bunch of cameras.
Sounds like chaos.
Yeah.
But in an awesome way.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those days where super hot outside, and we're running inside and outside, and but seeing it all up was awesome to like watch the stream and be like, wow, we did that.
Yep.
Yeah. What did we get, like 2.1 million views?
Yeah, we like broke YouTube a couple of times, like
5 times with the YouTube chat.
Man, that's a cool project to be a part of. What about you, Eddie?
I think the most recent one was just this last weekend for me and my company, because that one was about a year in the making for planning. And we got everybody that we could.
What kind of event was it?
It was Portland Crusade.
Oh, okay. So it was a music event.
But also it's going to be airing in like 2 weeks, I think.
Gotcha.
So it's to tape, and it was 160 points that went up in 15 hours. It all came down in 4 hours. 9 cameras. I think like over 1,500 lighting fixtures. maybe close to 1,000 LED panels. So it was just a lot of gear, 11 semis.
Man.
And I think it went extremely smooth. We had no issues.
I think it was great. The client was super happy.
Client was super happy, and they were like, it was just a flawless event on our side. So
That's cool. I mean, that's always like the goal. Like you step away and you like look at something, you're like, man, this is really cool. And it actually was pretty straightforward-ish to get up, you know, like all things considering, like I didn't pull my hair out getting this thing up. I actually enjoyed it. All right, last question, and then we'll end here. And this is just something that we've kind of always asked. What is one piece of advice you have for anyone who wants to get into video?
Work hard, ask a lot of questions, network
For sure.
I think above anything else, that is the number one thing, whether it's video or really any part of this industry. I mean, there's not a single client that I have right now that wasn't born organically, either through a reference or meeting them and just kind of like really developing that. So I think developing relationships with people and, you know, not just being another face, but actually connecting with people really goes a long way.
1,000%.
And to add to that, I would say that ability to network and to create those relationships goes further than technical skill.
Oh, 1,000%. Who you are and like how you work with other people ultimately determines if you get to work with more people.
I already said teachable in my last episode,
Yeah,
but
look at you. You're a podcast veteran.
Oh my god, yeah. But another thing that I was told by Sean Filstrup, who's an amazing video engineer himself, was that, you know, be good at troubleshooting and be good at signal flow, because that's going to help you regardless of how far you are in your career. So that's something I say.
Johann?
Can I? She was like still holding the mic.
Yeah. Just she can hold it for you, actually.
Can I say be teachable if I have like a good reason?
Yeah, I think be teachable is a great piece of advice. Do you have some clarity around it though?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a ton of people who are. I mean, like everyone's going to be smarter than you, and like even I'm sure all of you could name like 20 people who are like 10 times smarter than you. So always like have that attitude of like, what can I learn on this show? Because they're all different, and there's always going to be different gear to learn, especially like what we were talking about earlier. There's always new video gear. There's always, you know, it's always changing. So always be open to kind of, you know, receiving new information, and to like the vets, like always be open to teaching people.
Yep.
I think the biggest one is for me, also what Jess said, is networking, but also just being a go-getter in the industry, and like just having a hand in wherever you could fit, and just being helpful. That's the biggest one. You know, and just having a good attitude all around it goes really far, especially like in the music industry, at least. They base who they pick not just off of skill, but like
also vibe. Yeah, if you're gonna be like living on a bus or something, like you gotta hang. You gotta be a good person.
I mean, you could be like the best engineer or the best technical person and like the smartest person, but if you suck as a person and your attitude
no one's
sucks,
gonna want to be around you.
Yeah. So I mean, you just tanked your chances at the next one.
Yep.
You know, I've had a lot of people that were like that, and they were like A-list guys that I know, and I just don't call them back just because either one, they're annoying, or two, they're just not, you know, a personal, they're just not friendly.
Yep. Yeah. 1,000% character over talent every single time. So, well, thank you guys so much. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks for watching the Crew Call Pod. We're going to try to do some more of these where we're bringing some industry specialists and experts. Well, maybe we'll chat with the lighting guys or the stage people next. Who knows? But we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for hanging out.